Okay, let's dive right into this. We're talking about a massive showdown between two absolute giants, one in tech, one in music. This was a fight that literally silenced millions of songs on one of the biggest platforms on the planet.
So, you know that moment you're scrolling through TikTok, maybe sometime in early 2024, and suddenly your favorite video is just silent? Well, if that happened to you, it wasn't some weird glitch. Nope. It was the very first sign of a huge global battle that ended up yanking millions of songs right off the app.
And things escalated fast. I mean, really fast. On January 31st, the talks just completely fell apart. The very next day, February 1st, the music was gone. Poof, just vanished. And for 3 whole months, it was quiet. Until, finally, a new deal was hammered out. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what went down, why it was such a massive deal, and what it all means going forward.
All right, so what was this all really about? Let's get to the heart of it. Why these two absolute powerhouses decided to go to war.
As soon as those private negotiations broke down, the fight went public, and it got ugly. Universal Music Group, or UMG, came out swinging, accusing TikTok of bullying them. They said TikTok was trying to force them into a deal that just wasn't fair value. And TikTok, they fired right back, calling UMG's move pure greed and saying the music label was just pushing a false narrative. So UMG laid out their side of the story pretty clearly. They said, look, there are 3 core things we need, and TikTok isn't moving. First, proper compensation for their artists and songwriters. Second, real protection for human artists from all the AI stuff popping up. And third, better online safety for everyone using the app. Okay, let's talk money for a second, because this is where it gets really interesting. UMG dropped a pretty shocking number. They said that even with over 1 billion users, TikTok accounted for only about 1% of their total revenue. Just 1%. So their argument was basically, wait a minute, you guys are building a whole business model on our music, but you're not paying what it's truly worth? And then there is the whole AI issue. This was a huge sticking point. You had artists like independent creator Grace Frost basically saying, hey, I'm out here trying to make it, and suddenly AI is just churning out songs that sound like mine and flooding the For You page. It felt like they were being pushed out by algorithms. Which brings us to this key idea, the royalty pool. Think of it like a big pot of money that platforms like TikTok set aside to pay artists. Well, UMG found out that TikTok wanted to pay for AI-generated songs from that same pot, and for UMG, that was a deal breaker. They were afraid it would massively dilute the money meant for actual human artists. This, for them, was the hill to die on.
But listen, this wasn't just some fight between two massive corporations in a boardroom. This had a very real, very immediate impact on the actual creators, the people who depend on TikTok to build their careers. You can imagine how conflicted so many artists felt. They were totally caught between a rock and a hard place. I mean, on one side, you have TikTok. It's the #1 most powerful engine for making a song a hit, period. But on the other side, they wanted to stand with their label and fight for fair pay. It was a tough spot to be in.
And that same independent artist, Grace Frost, she just nailed it with this comparison. She said artists on TikTok are kind of like unpaid interns. The exposure you get, it's insane, it's incredible. But her question really gets to the heart of this whole debate. At what point does that intern deserve to get paid?
And if you want to know just how little we might be talking about, get this. Grace Frost said that one of her songs had 110,000 streams on TikTok. Her payout for all those streams? 20 cents. Let that sink in for a minute. And the ripple effect here was way bigger than most people thought. This wasn't just about huge UMG stars like Taylor Swift or Drake losing their music. It went deeper. If any song had even one co-songwriter who was signed to Universal's publishing company, that song got pulled too. That's why even artists who weren't with UMG, like Beyoncé, suddenly had some of their tracks go silent.
Okay, so after 3 long, quiet months, the standoff was over. The two sides finally found a way forward. So let's take a look at the new deal that brought the music back to all our feeds.
The new agreement was announced on May 2nd, and it was pretty much built around fixing those 3 original problems. The pillars of the deal were, #1, improved compensation, #2, much stronger protections against AI, and #3, new ways for artists to promote their work on the platform.
Now, we don't know the exact dollar amounts, that stuff is always kept under wraps. But the CEO of UMG, Sir Lucian Grange, did confirm it. He sent an email to his staff saying that under this new deal, artists and songwriters will be getting paid more than they did with the old contract.
And this is really important. The deal delivered on that hill to die on issue we talked about, the AI problem. UMG said the agreement has some of the best AI safeguards they've ever negotiated. It includes a promise from TikTok to take down unauthorized AI music and, here's the big one, to make sure AI-generated content does not take money out of the pockets of human artists. So when you step back and look at the big picture, what does all this mean? Well, this was way more than just another contract negotiation. This was really a fight over the future, a battle for the value of music in this new digital AI-driven world.
And what this whole situation really highlighted is a trend that music producers call the TikTokification of music. The idea is that TikTok isn't just a place we find music anymore. It's actually changing how music is made. Songs are now being designed with these short, super catchy, viral moments in mind, sometimes at the expense of a traditional verse-chorus structure. And that has massive implications for where creativity is headed. Ultimately, this whole battle and the deal that came out of it set a huge precedent. It was a line in the sand. The world's biggest music company basically sent a message to the world's biggest social media platforms, saying that the conversation about fair pay and protecting human artists from AI, it's really just getting started.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. As AI gets smarter and more creative every single day, who actually gets to own the next big hit song?